wealth and this magnificent view.
Couldn't agree more.
May our kingdoms prosper as beautifully as the stars.
John chapter 14. Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also.
Because see, we're going to have these different nations in slavery, not only on the earth, but also on other planets. That's the glory of the kingdom. We're going to have servants on other planets. We're going to colonize other planets. All right? We're going to expand. You think about this truth, you think about the gospel, you think about the plan of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Hey, you got that one song about Drake, God's plan. When you think about God's plan, it's going to take place on the earth. There's really a blueprint for what's going to happen all throughout the entire universe. For all throughout the entire universe. What we're doing is a part of a blueprint. You know, like this truth is a franchise, and it's going to branch out. It's going to expand all throughout the universe, man. To distant galaxies, you know. So don't be surprised, you know, you brother, the hopeful elect, the Lord give you your own galaxy or your own planet, own planets, and you colonize them, and you implement the laws, statutes, and commandments on them, and you're going to have servants on these planets. All right?
John chapter 14. Let not your heart be troubled. Ye believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also.
Wealth and this magnificent view.
Couldn't agree more.
May our kingdoms prosper as beautifully as the stars.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Kakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us young brothers. And peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. All right, and what we're going to get into today is continuation of 2 Kings. All right, made to the 19th chapter. And when you go into this chapter, you know, the Lord, you know, shows up and shows out. You know, so this is another account. You know, there's a faith booster. You know, especially for the times that we're coming into, okay? As we know, in fact, let me start off with, okay, the precept that I put in the title with Psalm 46:1, because we know we're coming into what? The time of Jacob's trouble, okay? And in Jacob's trouble, you know, the Lord is going to show, okay, who's his chosen. You know, he's going to show who he's been with the whole time, all right? Now, when you go to Psalms 46:1, all right, this is in the NLT, it says, the Most High is our refuge and strength, always ready to help in times of trouble. Okay, and we know, as brothers been going into over and over, start with apostles and elders, you know, men, okay, even the elders before them, you know, spoke about what? A time of Jacob's trouble. Okay, when our enemy Esau, Edom, you know, the scriptures say he will come in like a flood. Okay, and we read this account, the Syrian army, they're going to attempt, to come in like a flood. Okay. And this, particular account dealing with Hezekiah, okay, and the people of the southern kingdom at the time, is symbolic also for the elect, okay, which we know the elect is going to be of all tribes, okay, but the mindset of Hezekiah, and we're going to see his trust, in Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai, okay, and the people, they obeyed the leadership, okay, they obeyed their leadership that was set up. You see, and that's going to play a role too, because, people think it's a light thing, because nigga culture, is a very rebellious, very random, okay? Disrespect is cute and popular, amongst, nigga culture. So Jake bring that, same behavior in the truth, think they can say anything and do anything against, leadership that the Lord set up. Well, that's going to play in part in how the Lord judges, man. Okay, that's gonna play a factor too, because as we read in Isaiah, not Isaiah, 2 Kings, the 18th chapter, when the Assyrian, chief of staff, okay, was talking to the people and offering them, a deal, okay, to give up the city, okay, they didn't speak a word, okay, under the orders of King Hezekiah. Okay, and as we're, commanded to be still and know that He is. Matter of fact, I want to say this is in the same. All right. Yep, this is the same chapter. Psalms 46 and 10 in the NLT says, "Be still and know that I am the Most High." Okay, we're commanded to be still, which we're not here to take up arms against this devil. All right, we're not here to try to plan no coup. Okay, we're not here to be, what they call extremists, which they're going to label us these things anyway, but we're not here to do this. It's going to be a lie when they label them things, because we know, okay, that we are to wait on our power till He rise up against the prey. We've been commissioned with just teaching, man, which this is part of the spiritual war, which is bringing down, all right, this devil's enchantments, okay, which is going to make this devil try to come in like a flood, okay, and then the Lord gonna make His move, man. Okay, Esau is being baited in to make his move, okay, because he's gonna have his way with niggas, just like the southern kingdom saw the Assyrians have their way with the northern tribes. Well, the elect are gonna see, all right, Esau have his way with 2/3, man, and you really gotta prep your mind for that, man. If you got a soft spot for niggas, not to get off topic, okay, but this probably gonna be said frequently, man, especially coming to the times we're coming into, man. All right, because we see Nero booting up, okay, the modern day Assyrian, man. Okay, but if you have a soft spot for niggas, okay, you still feel sorry for niggas and the nigga woman, and you're gonna be heartbroken what the Lord finna do to these niggas, man. The nigga woman and these little nigga babies, man. Okay, because the warning has went out. Okay, and they bucked up. So now the Lord finna reach out and touch, man, and He's gonna use, all right, His weapon of choice, which is Esau Edom, man. Okay, this is Psalms 46 and 10. "Be still and know that I'm the Most High. I will be honored by every nation. I will be honored throughout the world," man. So the Lord is finna get His reverence in the earth, man. Okay, we can't get the Lord's reverence like He can get reverence for Himself, man. That's why we're commissioned, to be still, man. Go do what we was assigned to do, which is teach, edify the elect, build up the church, to have faith, okay, and watch the Lord work, man. Okay, because if they're getting ready to, shut down, the internet, the free use of the internet and particular things, okay, hey, the Lord finna have Esau take this thing to another level, man. Okay, so this account here, when you go to 2 Kings, all right, is a great account, for a faith booster for those that believe. Okay, so let's go Let's go here to the book of 2 Kings, chapter 19, verse 1. It's the NLT. And it says, when King Hezekiah heard their report, he tore his clothes and put on burlap and went into the temple of the Lord. Yeah, because he heard the report about what the messengers of Assyria was saying, you know. And then you gotta think, they had hundreds of thousands, okay, of troops outside of Jerusalem. Okay. And this chief of staff, you know, came with these threats, you know. So Hezekiah, he's troubled. King Hezekiah is troubled. Okay. He sent, all right, and this is what he did, is as he sent Eliakim, all right, the palace administrator, Shebna, the court secretary, and the leading priests, all dressed in burlap, to the prophet Isaiah, son of Amos. They told him, this is what King Hezekiah says. Today is a day of trouble, insults, and disgrace. It is like when a child is ready to be born, but the mother has no strength to deliver the baby. You know, so Hezekiah, you know, he's in this state of mourning, you know, of sadness. Okay, but perhaps the Lord Yahweh Bashim al-Shai, your power, has heard the Assyrian chief of staff sent by the king to defy the living power, and will punish him for his words. Oh, pray for those of us who are left. So they're going to Isaiah, you know, and this is how the prophets were supposed to be used. Okay, in the clutch. All right, and you know, they went to the prophets to, okay, get a word from the Lord. You know, so they going to Isaiah, you know, to get a word from Yahweh Bashim al-Shai. Okay, to get the Lord involved in the situation, man. Okay, but what do Jake do with the prophets today? They mock, scoff, ridicule, scrutinize. Okay, 2/3, man. And you see, it says, after King Hezekiah's official delivered the king's message to Isaiah, the prophet replied, say to your master, this is what the Lord Yahweh Bashim al-Shai says. Do not be disturbed by this blasphemous speech against me from the Assyrian kings. All right, messengers, man. Okay, so Isaiah had a word, all right, of comfort, man. Look, so don't even worry. You know, just like you go today, man, brothers have, you know, words of comfort, man. You know, and brothers go into these lessons and, you know, go into what's happening, and, you know, you go into these accounts of what the Lord has done for our people and what he's promised to do for our people in these times. Those that believe, man, this is a comfort. Okay, we have plenty of precepts, you know, that tell us don't be worried about no goddamn Esau, man. Okay, Esau is going to be the problem of 2/3. That's going to be a 2/3 problem. Esau is going to be a problem for 2/3, man, who going to be given over to him, man. Okay, but we're constantly reminded, you know, not to worry about this nigga, man. Okay, it says, listen, I myself will move against him. You see, the Lord like, look, I'm going to move against him, man. Don't worry about all that talk and that tough talk, you know, that Syrian official, you know, came with. Okay, I'm going to intervene. It says, and the king will receive a message that he is needed at home. So he returned to his land where I will have him killed with the sword. So the Lord got everything planned out, man. Okay, all this tough talking the Assyrians, you know, were doing. Okay, the Lord already had this mapped out, man, what he wanted to do to them while they was talking. You know, we have to think like that, man. Why Esau Edom, okay, while this devil is plotting and talking about what he's going to do, and he's going to implement this, and if you don't have this, you know, if you don't comply, and I'm you know, you got Trump, you know, playing with the martial law and this. So it's like while Esau has all this going on, the Lord already had this guy right date. You know, his plate is fixed, man. Okay, so he got all these expectations about what he's going to do. Okay, but the Lord got this, man. Matter of fact, let's get this real quick. I believe it's Isaiah. We'll be in Isaiah quite a bit. Okay. Yep, this is Isaiah 51. And I'll start at 11. Okay. It says, therefore, the redeemed of the Lord shall return and come with singing unto Zion. And see, the beautiful thing about the scriptures, is to go into our end of state. What the Lord has planned for us at the end beyond everything that we're finna go through. You see? And this what, is joy. It's what's a comfort to read about the Lord already has a reality after this, man. Okay? The state and the condition that we're going to be in the aftermath of all this, man. The time of tribulation said, therefore the redeemed of the Lord shall return and come with singing unto Zion, and everlasting joy shall be upon their head. They shall obtain gladness and joy, and sorrow and mourning shall flee away. You see? So we understand that, this is what we're going to go through, man. It's a temporal situation, and we're, going to be protected throughout, man, even in death. The Lord gonna give us a spirit to deal with that if that's what we have to face. And then we're gonna be resurrected right back to immortality, man. So, hey, even in death, we're comforted, man. Okay, it says, I am he that comforted you. Who art thou that thou shouldst be afraid of man that shall die? And the Son of Man which shall be made as grass, man. Because we have to understand, the Syrians of this time frame, they finna be made an example of, but they're just men. Okay? They're very limited. You see, Esau push, we know Esau got this type of different technology things we ain't seen. But at the end of the day, this nigga is still a man. Okay? This nigga, he's limited as hell. All right? And he's fully under control of our power. Okay? So we can't, the flesh, all right, will make this nigga to be more than what he is, man. Okay? Isaiah 51:13. Now, 2/3, he gonna be a guide to them niggas, man. He gonna be a guide to these niggas, 2/3 with no protection, man. When he's unleashed on these niggas, man. It says, and forgettest the Lord thy maker, that said they have stretched forth the heavens and laid the foundations of the earth, and has feared continually every day because of the fury of the oppressor, as if he were ready to destroy. And where is the fury of the oppressor, man? So we have to understand he is. Okay? So Esau Edom is extremely limited in what he can and can't do. Damn what he's saying. Okay, what the Lord's saying. What the Lord's saying he gonna do, man. The elder brother Yatazak out there in Dallas, he make that point where what the Lord say he gonna do. Okay? As Esau, he's gonna come with a lot of talking with what the Lord gonna do. And that's the only thing that matters. Okay? Because this is Syrians. They did a lot of talking, and they finna do some more talking. But none of that matters, all right, when it comes to the will of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai, what he wants to do, man. Okay? So this man, Esau, he's getting ready to come, down with great wrath. Okay? But he has, all right, only so much, that the Lord's going to allow him to do. And it's already allotted who he's allowed to do these things to. Okay? This is 2 Kings 18 and that's like 19. So like 2 Kings 19 and what was it? Read verse 8 and 19. So it's 2 Kings 19 and 8. It says, meanwhile, the Syrian chief of staff left Jerusalem and went to consult the king of Assyria, who had led Lachish and was attacking Libnah. Soon afterward, King Sennacherib, all right, received word that King all right, Tekarha of Ethiopia was leading an army to fight against him. Before leaving to meet the attack, he sent messengers back to Hezekiah in Jerusalem with this message. The message is for King. I said, this message is for King Hezekiah of Judah. Don't let your power in whom you trust deceive you with promises that Jerusalem will not be captured by the king of Assyria, man. So he's still, with the crazy talk. Okay. It says, you know perfectly well what the kings of Assyria have done wherever they have gone. They have completely destroyed everyone who stood in their way. Why should you be any different? Have the gods of other nations rescued them, such nations as Gazan, Haran, Rizpah, and the people of Eden, all right, who were in Tel Ashar. My predecessors destroyed them all, so he's going through what? His stats. They're going through the stats of the Syrian Empire. It says, what happened to the king of Hamath and the king of Arpad? What happened to the king of Sepharvaim, Hena, and Avai? After Hezekiah received a letter from the messengers and read it, he went up to the Lord's temple and spread it out before the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai. So Hezekiah, he's reading this, and he went, before the Lord, he went to his power, and Hezekiah prayed this prayer before the Lord. O Lord, power of Israel, you are enthroned between the mighty cherubim. You alone are the most high of all. You alone are the power of all the kingdoms of the earth. You alone create the heavens and the earth. Bend down, O Lord, Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai. Listen, open your eyes, O Lord, and see. Listen to Sennacherib's words of defiance against the living power, man. So Hezekiah, consider what this man is saying. All I say, these Assyrians talking sideways, man. All right, the Egyptians did it. Okay, I say the Syrians, the Babylonians. Okay, and these heathens, this is what they do. Okay, they get in the power. The Lord allows them to have conquest. Okay, because all these nations was prophesied to come into power. All right, and the Lord, he's going to expound on that. It says, it is true, Lord, that the kings of Assyria have destroyed all these nations, and they have thrown the gods of these nations into the fire and burnt them. But of course, the Assyrians could destroy them. They were not gods at all, only idols of wood and stone shaped by human hands. Okay, so the Assyrians, in their mind, we was able, to conquer all these other nations and their gods. They got to physically put, burn these different gods of wood, and stone. So in their mind, they're like, look, ain't no God can stop us. Okay, and that's the mode Esau Edom is in. Okay, no power can stop us. We've conquered all the people of the earth. Okay, so Esau, no God can stop us. All these other gods of these other nations, nothing has stopped us. Okay, 2 Kings 19:19 said, now, O Lord, our power, rescue us from his power. So Laki said, then all the kingdoms of the earth will know, all right, that you alone, O Lord, all right, our power. Okay, I'll read this again. It says, now, O Lord, Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai, power, rescue us from his power. Then all the kingdoms of the earth will know that you alone, O Yahweh Bashem Al-Shai, are power, man. Okay, and it's similar to, a prayer when you go into, matter of fact, it's the book of Sirach. Let's get this in the book of Sirach. I believe it's 36. Okay, and this is a prayer. Okay. It says, have mercy upon us. This is Sirach 36:1. It said, have mercy upon us, O Lord, power of all, and behold us, and send thy fear upon all nations that seek not after thee. Lift up thy hand against the strange nations and let them see thy power. As thou wast sanctified in us before them, so be thou magnified among them before us, man. And see, and we're requesting the Lord to show his power, man. This is something we should be praying for in this time, man, for the Lord to show power, man, for the Lord to showcase his power. Okay? Because everyone, Esau has everyone in complete rebellion. He's made mockery of the Most High. People think lightly, this especially this God and Jesus character that Esau has given to them as, the God of the Bible and his only begotten son. Okay? People don't associate Jesus with power. Okay? He's a joke. All right? That's why you can find this nigga on Bourbon. You probably find this nigga in a red dress parade. Okay, a nigga dressed up like Jesus, because it's a joke in this society, man. Okay, especially amongst these other nations, man. Okay, so how about Shemal Shah? We requesting our power. We're requesting him to show his power, man. And judge the earth in righteousness, man, which he's getting ready to do. All right, it says that thou was sanctified in us before them. Okay, because the Lord, he showed he was dealing with us in times past. Okay, there was no doubt that the Lord was dealing with us as a people. He says, so be thou magnified among them before us, man. Okay, and this is what the Lord is finna do. He's finna magnify himself in the earth. Okay, he's finna show that he is in the earth, man, to all nations, man. Okay, and it says, and let them know thee as we have known thee, that there is no power but only thou, O power. Okay, and Esau, he's been hyped up to think that he's a power. Okay, and that he's on a level, to go back and forth with the Most High and his son. Like Esau is crazy as hell, man. He really think that he's on a level that that he can have some type of back and forth. Okay, with the Most High and Yahweh Shah, man. Okay, and this is gonna be the biggest embarrassment any nation has ever had, man. What the Lord finna do to Esau. It says, show new signs and make other strange wonders. Glorify thy hand and thy right arm, which is Yahweh Shah, that they may set forth thy wondrous works, man. Because the Lord's going to show his power through his son. Okay, Yahweh Shah said, all power is given to me in heaven and earth, man. So Yahweh Shah, he has that power to come judge. You see, the judgment gonna go forth through Yahweh Shah, man. Okay, the ultimate judgment of the Heavenly Father, okay, is going to be executed by Yahweh Shah. Okay, with great power, man. It says, raise up in the nation. Hold on, so like, what happened? It says, verse 7, raise up in the nation and pour out wrath. Take away the adversary and destroy the enemy. Sake the time short. So like, all right. It says, sake the time short. Remember the covenant and let them declare thy wonderful works. Let him that escapeth be consumed by the rage of fire, and let them that perish, all right, and let them perish that oppress the people, And one thing we're seeing that the Lord is taking the time short. The way that things are sped up, days, weeks, everything is sped up. Well, it's the Lord, forsaking the time and making it short. Okay, the Lord is wrapping this thing up, man. Time is moving. Well, the Lord is fast forward to the judgment, man. Because he's bound by his word, so there's events that have to play out. Okay, leading up into that great judgment. But he's speeding up the time to get to that judgment, man. Okay, it says, smite and sunder the heads of the rulers of the heathen that say, there is none other but we. Okay, smite and sunder the heads of the rulers of the heathen that say, there is none other but he, man. And that's Esau, Edom. Okay, Esau is a ruler of the heathens. Okay, and in his mind, he thinks that there's no other, but Esau thinks that he is, man. Okay, and this is why, this devil, is finna experience, severe embarrassment, man. The Lord finna show that he ain't. Okay, well, one of the main things that we're going to take away from the judgment is the Lord's going to show there's a major difference, all right, between him, okay, and Esau, okay, which is going to be through his son, Yahushua, okay. So as you read it, 2 Kings 19:20, then Isaiah son of Amos sent his message to Hezekiah. This is what the Lord, the power of Israel, says. I have heard your prayer about Sennacherib of Assyria. So the prayer of Hezekiah was heard, man. You see, and we coming into times where we, should want our prayers to be heard. But but Hezekiah was in good standing because he was known for trusting the Lord. Okay, the fact that he went, to the temple, he inquired of Isaiah. Okay, he was inquiring of the Lord. Okay, I say we want to be in good standing so our prayers can be heard in these times, man. Okay, I say Hezekiah had a good report. This is 1 Peter 3:12 said, "For the eyes of the Lord are over the righteous, and his ears are open unto their prayers. But the face of the Lord is against them that do evil," man. So for the eyes of the Lord are over the righteous, which are what? The chariots. Okay, we're saying that's the eyes, the Lord, and the protection. See, the chariots, hey, it's a duality, man. The chariots can be a nightmare to you or a protection. Okay, how shy, he can be a terror unto you or a protection. Okay, well, we want our prayers, okay, to make it to make it, to the throne. All right. But the face of the Lord is against them that do evil, man. So, and just dealing with our people, man, because our people, they're fully engulfed into a destructive, wicked anti-Messiah culture. Okay. But everyone wants to pray in the clutch first. They don't know who to pray to. Okay. And even their attempt to pray, the Lord not dealing with that, man. But his ears are open, all right, to the righteous, man. Okay, and it says, let's go back. I want to get that in Sirach too. I believe it's 35. So let's get this in the book of Sirach. I think 35 and 15. Yeah, I started at 13. It says he would not accept any person against a poor man, but will hear the prayer of the oppressed. Okay? And understanding that, that we're oppressed in this system. You see, but the elect, because all our people are oppressed, but see, the elect know who to pray to. All right? Who to pray to and to pray in faith and belief, knowing that he is, man. Prayer's got to be mixed with faith. It said he would not despise the supplication of the fatherless nor the widow when she poured out her complaint. Okay? What you will have, in society, the fatherless or the widow dealing with our customs. They were supposed to be taken care of by, everyone else. Because they lost their their breadwinner. They lost their heads, their protection, the husband. So they were supposed to be taken care of, and supposed to be systems in place to take care of them. And if you have, corrupt leadership, they would neglect, the vulnerable, of their city. Okay. And right now, the elect represent the fatherless, okay, or the widow, okay. because as we was, cast off, we was like a woman, with no husband, or a son without no father. Okay. But as we, the Lord has allowed us, that access, granted us access again back to him. Now we have a protector, what a husband and a father would do. Okay. And now, we have someone to hear our complaints, okay, against wicked rulership, man. It said, do not the tears run down the widow's cheek, and is not her cry against him that causes them to fall. He that serveth the Lord shall be accepted with favor, and his prayer shall reach unto the clouds, man. Okay? And we need our prayers to reach into the clouds more than ever, man. Okay? We pray, that the elect be protected, man, brothers, their families, man. The elect, okay, the hopeful elect, man, the true, sincere, believers and followers, man. We pray, that these prayers are being heard, because we need to go into this time, with that hedge, man. Okay, it says the prayer of the humble pierces the clouds until it come nigh. He will not be comforted, and he will not depart till the Most High shall be whole to judge righteously and execute judgment, man. All right, what scripture say? Give the Lord no rest until he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth, man. So it's a continual begging, man, whether we're praying, fasting, doing videos, that's us, petitioning to the Lord, man. Begging the Lord for that judgment, man, like that widow in Luke 18, man. Okay, it said, for the Lord will not be slack, neither will the mighty be patient toward them, till he have smitten asunder the loins of the unmerciful, okay, no other than Eve, man, and repay vengeance to the heathen, till he have taken away the multitude of the proud and broken, all right, the scepter of the unrighteousness, man. So as we pray, man, eventually the Lord is going to break this rulership, man. Okay, and he's going to avenge, okay, the heathen, man, the unmerciful. Okay, again with Esau, Edom, man, he is for sure the unmerciful, man. Okay, so let's go back to 2 Kings. Chapter 19. All right, this is the book of 2 Kings 19, and go back to NLT. I believe we left off. Yep. It's verse 21. It says, and the Lord has spoken his word against him, the virgin daughter of Zion, despise you, all right, and laughs at you. The daughter of Jerusalem shakes her head in derision, okay, as you flee. It says, whom have you been defied and ridiculed? Against whom did you raise your voice? At whom did you look with such haughty eyes? It was the Holy One of Israel. Okay, so Isaiah, he's speaking on behalf of the Most High. Okay, and to all this, tough talk, the Lord is asking, like, who you define and ridicule? Against whom did you raise your voice? It's like, somebody, you check your child, your child get a little extra tone to him, you stop the whole conversation, like, first off, who you talking to? Let's get that straight. You see, so the Heavenly Father, he's sending this message to Isaiah the Syrian, like, who you define and ridiculing, who you raising your voice at, and got your chest poked out, taking in all this air, like a boy said on Life, you taking in all this air. It says, at whom did you look with such haughty eyes? It was the Holy One of Israel. By your messengers, you have defied the Lord. You have said, with my many chariots, I have conquered the highest mountain. Yes. Okay. So he's talking about his stats, but the Lord finna straighten them. Okay. He says, I have conquered the highest mountains, the remotest peaks of Lebanon. I have cut down its tallest cedars and its finest cypress trees. I have reached into the farthest corners, okay, and explored its deepest forests. I have dug wells in my foreign lands. I have refreshed myself with their water. From the sole of my foot, I stopped up all the rivers of Egypt. But I have, all right, it says, but have you not heard? I decided this long ago. So the Lord is pretty much going into all the things like, okay, you did this, you did that, you stopped the Nile River with your foot, because you know how Jake talked when he being sarcastic, he's mocking, so he's telling the Syrian king, like, okay, you stopped all the rivers of Egypt with your foot, you did this, you did okay, but nigga. It says, but have you not heard? Okay. I decided this long ago. Long ago, I planned it, and now I am making it happen. I planned for you to crush fortified cities into heaps of rubbles. This is why their people have so little power and are so frightened and confused. All right. They are as weak as grass, as easily trampled as tender green shoots. They are like, they are like grass sprouting on the housetop, scorched before it can grow lush and tall. So he's like, look, I made these people powerless before you. Okay? I did this. I set you up to conquer fortified cities. Okay? You see? But the Assyrians, what happened, man? They got proud. They got beside themselves, got sideways, and that's how it usually happens. Even with Esau, you go to Esau here. This priest of Jeremiah 49. We get this all the time. All right, Jeremiah 49, and let's get this. I think starting 14 and 15. All right, this is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49, verse 14. No, yeah, verse 14, starting 14. Say, I have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent unto all the heathens, saying, gather you together and come against her and rise up to battle. So the Lord has it on these heathens, all right, to delete Babylon off the map. Okay, and this is going to be the beginning. Okay, this is going to be a portion of Esau's fall, America being destroyed, because the militaries, okay, of Esau either going to be destroyed by Yahushua, and then they're going to captivity. But we're going into the mindset Esau was in before he will fall. It says, for lo, I will make thee small among the heathen and despised among men. And this is happening now, man. Okay, the devil is becoming insignificant. He's not, okay. The Lord have him in the seat, okay, to where he can just have his way. He's not in a position where he can have his way like he used to. He's becoming small. He's becoming insignificant, man. Okay, and these nations are gearing up, okay, to erase America off the map. It said, thy terribleness have deceived thee, and the pride of thine heart. Okay, so just as the Assyrians, their terribleness, the way they were just able to wreak havoc, okay, and dominate, okay, the earth at that time. Okay, well, now you see Esau's in that spirit because he's been able to dominate the earth, conquer people, lands, colonialism. Okay, he's been able to do these things, and now he's deceived. To the point to where he thinks, all right, he's too strong to be judged. He has too much might to be judged, man. It says, in the pride of thine heart, O thou dwellest in the cliffs of the rock that holdeth the height of the hill, though thou shouldest make thy nest as high as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, saith the Lord, Yahweh B'Shem Al-Shai. Okay. So just as the Syrians, they was exalted in their mind. Okay, but they fell. Okay, Esau, he's exalted in his mind, but he's going to fail. Okay, so going back to 2 Kings 19. Verse 27. Okay. 2 Kings 19:27 said, but I know thy abode and thy going out and thy coming in and thy rage against me. So the Heavenly Father, like, look, I know everything, man. Okay, you're not telling, you're not telling me nothing new. When you boast in your achievements and your military, campaigns. Okay, you're not telling me nothing, man. All right. 2 Kings 19:27 said, but I know you well where you stay and when you come and go. I know the way you have raged against me. All right. And because you are raging against me and your arrogance, which I have heard for myself, I will put my hooks in your nose, similar to what he said about Magog. He's going to put hooks in their jaws. That's how you control a wild animal and get them to come how you want them to go. Okay. So we see, all right, as the Lord, that's a terminology when you go into hooks in your nose, okay, and a bit in your mouth, and I will make you return by the same road which you came. Okay, showing you that the nations, the Lord control these nations like beasts, man. Put hooks in their jaws in the spirit and make them go, all right, where He wants them to go. You see, it says, then said Isaiah to Hezekiah, here's the proof that what I say is true. This year you will eat only what grows up by itself. The next year you will eat what springs up from that. But in the third year you will plant crops and harvest them. You will tend vineyards and eat. So like I said, you will tend vineyards and eat their fruit. Okay? So it said you will tend vineyards and eat their fruit. Okay? So the Lord is, look, this is going to be proof that I'm with you. He's telling us exactly what's going to happen. And so that third year, let them know they was going to be in a good condition to where they were going to plant crops and harvest them, man. And it's similar to us being in the kingdom, because right now, we got our necessities, man, but in the kingdom, it's going to be abundance. It's just going to be abundance. But to make it there, we got to believe and we got to endure, through the trials. And it says, and you who are left in Judah, who have escaped the ravages of the siege, all right, will put roots down in your own soil and will grow up and flourish, all right, which is the remnant, man. That's symbolic of the remnant. And why, go to verse 31. For a remnant of my people will spread out from Jerusalem, a group of survivors, the elect from Mount Zion, the passionate, all right, commitment of the Lord of heaven's armies will make this happen, man. Okay, so it's going to be good for the elect, man. For the rest, stay out of here, man. The Lord, it's going to be good for the elect, man. Even in death is not going to stop us from being, raised up at the return of Yahweh, man, and going into the kingdom and being part of that first batch of Israelites, okay, to enforce righteousness under Yahweh in the earth, man, forever. Okay? And the Lord said He's going to do this. He has a passionate commitment to do this, man. And this is what the Lord says about the king of Assyria. His armies will not enter Jerusalem. They will not even shoot an arrow at it. They will not march outside his gates with their shield, nor build banks, all right, of earth against his wall, man. Okay, remember Yahushua said, for some of us, man, he said not a hair on our head will be touched, man. See, the Lord can make a promise like that and it hold up. Okay, so the Lord's going to be showing He is through mercy and judgment in these times to come. Okay, and it says the king will return to his own country by the same road in which he came, and he will not enter this city, says the Lord, man. So the Lord, like, look, they not coming in here. Okay, and the Lord had a cake baked for Sennacherib. Okay, and I believe it was his sons, that put him to death. Okay, and the Lord caused that to happen. All right, and it says, for my own honor and for the sake of my servant David, I will defend this city, okay, and protect it. The night the angel of the Lord went out, it says, that night the angel of the Lord went out to the Syrian camp and killed 185,000 Assyrian, all right, soldiers. When the surviving Assyrians woke up the next morning, they found corpse everywhere, man. So imagine waking up, okay, and that and you seeing it. So because they tried to use psychology against Israel with them threats. They were trying to use psychology, But imagine you waking up and you're seeing 185,000 dead bodies, man. You gotta think about that number in one spot. Bodies scrolled everywhere. Okay, and you the few and they remain, and you wake up and you see that, man. You're done. Your mental is collapsed after that, man. Okay, it said that night the angel of the Lord went out to the Syrian camp and killed 185 Syrian soldiers. All right, when the surviving Assyrians woke up the next morning, they found corpse everywhere. Then King Sennacherib of Assyria broke camp and returned to his own land. All right, he went home to his capital of Nineveh and stayed there one day while he was worshiping in the temple of his power. Nisroch, his sons, Dremelech and Sherazar, killed him with their words. All right, with their swords. Okay, so now it was his sons. Yep, that's what it was. His sons. So while he was worshiping his gods, okay, because he was talking about what the God, the God of Jerusalem, can't protect you from me. Okay, well, his guys didn't protect him from his sons. Okay, show you how the Lord makes mockery, man. We finna see a lot of mockery, man. All right, to you Edomites, you 2/3 niggas, man. We finna see the Lord do a lot of mockery on you, man. Okay, it says they then escaped to the land of Ararat, and another son, Esarhaddon, became the next king of Syria, man. All right, so the Lord made quick work of the Assyrian in that situation. Okay, slaughtered. All right, the angel, went out 185,000, man. And overnight, and there was light work to the angel. You see? So, yeah, man, that's the power we serve, man. The Lord, is a present help, in trouble, and the water, that we have access, to be able to pray to our power through His Son Yahushua. And that's another thing, Yahushua. Those prayers go through Yahushua, man. So we're coming to a time, where we're gonna need our prayers answered, man. All right, and it's gonna be getting out of here. It's gonna be nothing less than miracles with an S, man. So Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified. Till next time, I say Shalom, Kwam Yashala, Abba Basum, Shalom. 1044. Our Razaza, God Allah, Imlai, how about Shemal Shai?